burn. And it gets... Are you listening to me?
The relationship between Kenneth Copeland, one of the most well-known televangelists in the world, and his daughter Kellie Copeland Swisher has always been under the scrutiny of the public eye. For years, the Copeland family has portrayed an image of unity, faith, and shared purpose, primarily due to the influence of Kenneth Copeland's ministry. However, rumors of a deep rift between Kenneth and Kellie have recently come to light, leading to speculation about the cause of their strained relationship. The notion that Kellie Copeland Swisher harbors resentment or even hatred toward her father due to certain actions on his part has generated considerable attention. Before we start, hit the like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive news. To understand the full scope of these rumors, it's essential to look at the larger context of Kenneth Copeland's life and ministry. Kenneth Copeland is a figure whose impact on modern Christianity, particularly within the prosperity gospel movement, cannot be overstated. His teachings, which often emphasize financial success and physical well-being as rewards for faith in God, have attracted millions of followers worldwide. The ministry has amassed considerable wealth, with Kenneth Copeland living a lifestyle that includes private jets, luxurious homes, and other symbols of material prosperity. His influence extends not only to religious matters but also into the political sphere, as he has been known to associate with high-profile political figures, particularly in the United States. While his ministry has been successful on a grand scale, Kenneth Copeland has also faced numerous controversies. Critics accuse him of exploiting his followers for financial gain, manipulating the message of Christianity to suit his personal agenda, and using his ministry's resources for self-indulgent purposes rather than charitable or religious endeavors. These accusations have damaged his reputation in some circles, and it is here that the seeds of discontent within his family may have taken root. Kellie Copeland Swisher grew up in the shadow of her father's ministry, and for a long time she played an active role in it. Like many children of powerful religious leaders, her upbringing was unique, characterized by immense public pressure and the expectation to follow in her father's footsteps. As she matured and developed her own identity, however, it became apparent that her personal beliefs and values might not always align with those of her father. There are indications that Kellie struggled with the lavish lifestyle and the focus on material wealth that her father's ministry promoted. This ideological conflict could be one of the core reasons behind their estranged relationship. The rumors that Kellie harbors hatred toward her father likely stem from a deep sense of disillusionment. Many who have followed her journey suggest that she felt manipulated by her father's teachings, especially those concerning prosperity. She may have come to question the authenticity of his message, viewing it as a distortion of true Christian values. While Kenneth Copeland preached abundance and wealth, Kellie may have sought something more profound, more aligned with the core principles of humility, service, and sacrifice that many associate with the Christian faith. This sense of betrayal could also be compounded by the familial and personal toll that Kenneth Copeland's lifestyle has taken. Living in the shadow of such a prominent figure can be stifling, and Kellie might have felt suffocated by the expectations placed upon her. Moreover, Kenneth Copeland's public persona could have been at odds with the private dynamics within the Copeland household. Families of powerful individuals often experience strains that remain hidden from the public, and the Copelands are no exception. Kellie's rumored resentment may also stem from personal grievances that go beyond mere ideological differences, involving issues such as emotional neglect or the prioritization of the ministry over family life. Kenneth Copeland's immense wealth and influence might have provided a luxurious lifestyle, but it also likely imposed emotional and relational costs on his family. When the ministry becomes all-encompassing, family members often feel sidelined or ignored. Kellie's sense of abandonment, whether emotional or spiritual, could explain why she harbors such strong feelings against her father. She may view his pursuit of wealth and fame as not only a betrayal of Christian teachings, but also a betrayal of their family bond. The Copeland family, like many others, might have experienced the clash between public success and private turmoil. Another significant factor to consider is the impact of public scrutiny on Kellie. As the daughter of a world-renowned televangelist, Kellie Copeland Swisher has likely faced the burden of having her every action examined under a microscope. The public often projects expectations onto the children of famous figures, expecting them to embody the ideals espoused by their parents. Kellie's life has likely been shaped by the pressure to live up to her father's image, and this could have bred resentment over time. The constant scrutiny, combined with her potential disagreements with her father's methods and message, might have created a fissure in their relationship that only deepened as she grew older. The emotional toll of being part of a highly publicized ministry can be overwhelming. Kellie might have grown weary of constantly being associated with her father's controversial teachings and decisions, especially when those decisions generated negative publicity. Over time, the desire to separate herself from her father's shadow and forge her own path might have led to increasing tension between the two. If Kellie felt that Kenneth Copeland's actions were damaging her own reputation or impeding her ability to live a life of genuine faith, her feelings of resentment could have turned into outright animosity. Moreover, the dynamic between Kenneth and Kellie might have been further complicated by the differing roles they played within the ministry. While Kenneth Copeland has always been the face of the organization, Kellie's involvement has varied over the years. There may have been instances where she disagreed with the direction of the ministry, or felt that her contributions were undervalued or overshadowed by her father's dominance. In a family business, particularly one as high-profile and contentious as the Copeland ministry, differences in vision and execution can quickly escalate into personal conflict. The rumors that Kellie Copeland Swisher harbors hatred toward her father are not just the result of theological disagreements or disputes over the direction of the ministry. They reflect the complexity of family dynamics, especially when power, wealth, and public scrutiny are involved. Kellie may have felt deeply conflicted between her loyalty to her father and her growing disillusionment with the way his ministry operated. This internal conflict could have intensified over the years, resulting in the deep rift that now seems to exist between them. It's also worth considering the possibility that Kellie's feelings toward her father are part of a broader pattern seen in the children of powerful figures. Children of celebrities, politicians, and religious leaders often struggle to reconcile their personal identity with the public persona of their parents. For Kellie, her father's decisions and actions may have had far-reaching implications not only for their personal relationship, but also for her sense of self. As someone who grew up in the spotlight of the Copeland ministry, Kellie may have struggled to establish her own identity apart from the influence of her father. Over time, this struggle could have contributed to her growing resentment. The rumors about Kellie's hatred toward her father also raise broader questions about the nature of leadership within religious movements. Kenneth Copeland's brand of Christianity, with its focus on prosperity and personal success, has always been polarizing. While many followers have embraced his teachings, others, perhaps including Kellie, may view them as a distortion of the core message of the gospel. Kellie's rumored estrangement from her father could be seen as emblematic of a larger critique of the prosperity gospel movement. Her personal feelings may reflect a broader disillusionment with the way religious leaders like Kenneth Copeland have used their platform to amass wealth and power. It is important to note that the rumors about Kellie Copeland Swisher's feelings toward her father remain speculative, as neither party has publicly confirmed or denied them in full. However, the mere existence of these rumors indicates that something significant may have transpired within the Copeland family. The intensity of the public's interest in their relationship suggests that the Copelands, despite their outward appearance of unity, may be grappling with unresolved tensions behind the scenes. The speculation surrounding Kellie Copeland Swisher's alleged disdain for her father, Kenneth Copeland, offers an opportunity to delve deeper into the complex dynamics of familial relationships, particularly within the context of high-profile religious families. At the heart of this unfolding narrative lies the broader conversation about faith, family loyalty, public perception, and the struggles inherent in attempting to reconcile personal beliefs with the pressures imposed by both family and the religious community. Kenneth Copeland's vast influence over his ministry and its followers is undeniable, but within the walls of his own home, that influence might not have always translated into harmony. When a family operates under the global spotlight, the conflicts that arise are amplified, and every disagreement or strain is subject to public speculation. In the case of Kellie Copeland Swisher, the situation is further complicated by the nature of her father's teachings, and how those teachings have shaped not only the family, but also the lives of millions of people who follow his ministry. One of the more interesting aspects of the rumors surrounding Kellie's estrangement from her father is how it highlights the tension between public personas and private realities. Kenneth Copeland is known for his charismatic, authoritative presence, qualities that have undoubtedly helped him build a successful ministry. However, it is not uncommon for people in positions of power to struggle with maintaining authentic relationships within their families. Leaders who are constantly in the public eye often find it difficult to separate their public image from their personal identity. For Kenneth Copeland, the pressure to maintain his influential role in the religious world could have created distance between him and his daughter, as he may have prioritized his ministry over fostering a deeper connection with her. In families where one member holds a disproportionate amount of power and influence, especially in a public-facing role, there can often be a tendency for other family members to feel overlooked or marginalized. This might be particularly true for Kellie, who, despite her active involvement in the ministry for many years, could have felt as though her contributions were overshadowed by her father's larger-than-life presence. The weight of living in the shadow of such a dominant figure is something many children of famous or influential parents experience. It's possible that this underlying dynamic contributed to the estrangement, as Kellie may have struggled to carve out her own identity outside of her father's powerful influence. Kellie Copeland Swisher's journey of self-discovery, particularly as she sought to establish her own identity apart from her father's legacy, might have been fraught with challenges. Being associated with someone as polarizing as Kenneth Copeland would make it difficult for Kellie to distance herself from her father's teachings and image, even if she disagreed with certain aspects of his message. When someone grows up within a highly structured religious framework, it can be challenging to break free from the values and beliefs that were instilled during their upbringing, even if they begin to question or reject those teachings as adults. For Kellie, the process of stepping out from under her father's influence may have been both liberating and painful, particularly if it involved renouncing parts of his ministry that she felt were inconsistent with her own understanding of faith. The rumors of Kellie's alleged hatred toward her father could also be tied to a sense of moral or ethical disillusionment. Kenneth Copeland's ministry has long been a focal point of controversy, particularly due to his promotion of the prosperity gospel, a belief that God rewards faith with material wealth and success. This teaching has attracted a large following but has also been met with widespread criticism, with many accusing Copeland of exploiting vulnerable people for financial gain. Kellie, as someone who grew up immersed in the inner workings of the ministry, may have developed an insider's perspective on the ways in which her father's teachings were being used to enrich the family at the expense of their followers. If Kellie began to question the legitimacy of the prosperity gospel or the ethical implications of her father's wealth, this could have led to a deep sense of betrayal. Feeling complicit in a system she no longer believed in would be difficult to reconcile, especially if she saw firsthand how Kenneth Copeland's teachings were influencing people's lives in ways that she considered harmful or manipulative. For someone like Kellie, who may have entered the ministry with pure intentions, this disillusionment could have been devastating, resulting in a complete breakdown of trust between her and her father. The intensity of her feelings may stem from the realization that her father's success was built on principles that she ultimately came to reject. Additionally, the public nature of Kenneth Copeland's ministry could have added to Kellie's feelings of resentment. As a high-profile figure in the Christian world, Kenneth Copeland's life is constantly under scrutiny, with every decision he makes being examined by both his followers and his critics. Living under that kind of scrutiny can be exhausting, particularly for family members who may not have chosen such a public life for themselves. Kellie may have grown tired of the constant pressure to live up to her father's public persona and the expectations that came with being a Copeland. The responsibility of representing the family in a certain way could have become overwhelming, especially if she disagreed with the direction in which the ministry was heading. The tension between personal identity and public expectation is a common struggle for children of influential figures. In Kellie's case, this struggle may have been further complicated by her father's controversial teachings and the public's perception of the Copeland family. While Kenneth Copeland has thrived in his role as a religious leader, his success has not come without its fair share of critics, and Kellie may have found herself caught in the crossfire of that criticism. If she felt that her father's actions were morally questionable, the burden of being associated with his ministry could have become too much to bear. Over time, this burden might have contributed to the erosion of their relationship, as Kellie sought to distance herself from the controversy surrounding her father. Kellie's desire for independence might have also played a role in the alleged rift. As the daughter of a powerful and influential figure, she may have struggled to establish her own identity and make her own decisions without being influenced by her father's dominance. In families with strong patriarchal structures, daughters often find themselves in a difficult position, torn between their desire to honor their father's legacy and their need to forge their own path. For Kellie, the process of asserting her independence could have been particularly challenging, given the immense pressure to remain loyal to the family and the ministry. If she felt that her father was not allowing her the space to grow and evolve, this could have led to feelings of frustration and resentment. In a broader sense, Kellie's experience may also reflect the challenges faced by many women within religious organizations, particularly those that emphasize traditional gender roles. Within the framework of the prosperity gospel and other similar religious movements, women are often expected to play supportive roles, deferring to male leadership. If Kellie felt constrained by these expectations, this could have contributed to the tension between her and her father. The desire for autonomy, both in her personal life and within the ministry, might have led to a growing sense of dissatisfaction with the way her father's teachings were being implemented, particularly if she felt that they reinforced restrictive gender roles or limited her own potential. Another dimension to consider is the generational gap between Kenneth Copeland and his daughter. As someone from an older generation, Kenneth's worldview and approach to ministry might differ significantly from Kellie's. While Kenneth Copeland has remained steadfast in his promotion of the prosperity gospel, younger generations of Christians are increasingly skeptical of this message, with many rejecting the idea that wealth and success are the ultimate markers of faith. Kellie, as a member of a younger generation, may have begun to question the validity of her father's teachings in light of this cultural shift. The growing disconnect between their perspectives could have contributed to the breakdown of their relationship, as Kellie sought to distance herself from a message that she no longer believed in. Generational differences can often exacerbate existing tensions within families, particularly when it comes to matters of faith and belief. For Kellie, watching her father continue to promote a message that she felt was outdated or harmful could have been deeply frustrating. If she believed that her father was unwilling to adapt or evolve his teachings in response to changing cultural attitudes, this could have further driven a wedge between them. The desire for a more modern, inclusive approach to Christianity might have clashed with Kenneth Copeland's more traditional, prosperity-focused message, leading to an ideological rift that eventually manifested as personal animosity. The rumors of Kellie's estrangement from her father also speak to the broader issue of authenticity within religious leadership. In a world where religious leaders are often held to incredibly high moral and ethical standards, any perceived hypocrisy or inconsistency in their teachings can lead to disillusionment among their followers, and in some cases their own family members. For Kellie, witnessing the inner workings of her father's ministry could have exposed her to aspects of his leadership that were at odds with the public image he presented. If she felt that there was a disconnect between the teachings of the prosperity gospel and the way her father conducted himself in private, this could have led to a deep sense of disillusionment and betrayal. Religious leaders, particularly those with large followings like Kenneth Copeland, often find themselves in difficult positions when it comes to managing both their public and private lives. The pressure to maintain an image of moral authority can be overwhelming, and in some cases this pressure can lead to a breakdown in personal relationships. For Kellie, the expectation to uphold her father's public persona may have been too much, especially if she began to see flaws in his teachings or actions. The tension between maintaining a public image and living authentically is a common challenge for people in positions of power, and it is possible that this tension played a role in the deterioration of the Copeland family's relationships. The complexities of the Copeland family dynamic, particularly the alleged animosity Kellie Copeland Swisher feels toward her father, Kenneth Copeland, can be understood as a multifaceted issue. While the public perceives their relationship primarily through the lens of the media and Kenneth's high-profile ministry, there are numerous factors at play beneath the surface that offer insight into the underlying tensions. These factors range from psychological and emotional struggles within the family, spiritual disillusionment, societal expectations, and the unavoidable friction that arises in families involved in positions of public influence and power. One aspect that stands out is the immense psychological toll placed on Kellie as the daughter of such a polarizing religious leader. The psychological development of children who grow up in the homes of powerful, influential, and public figures often takes a different trajectory compared to those in more traditional, private settings. Children in these families are often expected to act as extensions of their parents' public personas, carrying the weight of their parents' fame and influence while simultaneously trying to form their own identity. The constant tension between individuality and the expectations imposed by being associated with a well-known figure like Kenneth Copeland can lead to significant emotional stress, identity crises, and ultimately, resentment. Kellie Copeland Swisher's experience as Kenneth's daughter can be likened to that of the children of celebrities, politicians, or other influential figures who are forced into the public eye from a young age. From a psychological perspective, this can create what is often referred to as role engulfment, where a child is seen primarily in relation to the parent's identity, rather than being recognized as an individual in their own right. For Kellie, this could mean that she was often regarded as Kenneth Copeland's daughter, rather than being seen for her personal achievements or beliefs. This type of upbringing can foster a sense of invisibility and frustration, especially if the child begins to diverge from the parent's beliefs or values, as appears to be the case with Kellie. Moreover, children in such families frequently struggle with boundaries. In families where one member wields a significant amount of power, particularly within a religious or ideological context, the distinction between personal and professional boundaries can become blurred. Kenneth Copeland's ministry was not only a public enterprise, but also, to some extent, a family business. Kellie's role in the ministry would have entailed a complex entanglement of personal faith, family obligations, and public expectations. The blurring of these boundaries can make it difficult for family members to establish personal autonomy, especially if the family patriarch is as dominating a figure as Kenneth. This lack of autonomy could foster a growing resentment, particularly if Kellie felt that her personal identity was being suppressed by the overwhelming weight of her father's public persona. Additionally, the process of breaking away from a powerful figure like Kenneth Copeland may have been fraught with emotional conflict for Kellie. Psychologically, separating oneself from an influential parent can often involve a significant emotional toll, especially when that parent is viewed as an authority figure not only in the family, but also within a broader community. Kenneth Copeland is not just a father to Kellie, he is a leader and spiritual guide to millions. For Kellie, distancing herself from her father may have felt like not only breaking familial ties, but also rebelling against a broader spiritual and ideological community that had shaped much of her early life. This dual separation, personal and spiritual, could have created significant internal turmoil, exacerbating any feelings of resentment she may have harbored. The emotional strain of being expected to maintain loyalty to both family and faith could have also led to feelings of guilt and confusion. For someone like Kellie, whose father's life's work is centered around preaching the prosperity gospel, rejecting or distancing herself from that ideology could feel like a betrayal, not just of her father, but of the entire Copeland legacy. This would have placed her in an emotionally precarious position, choosing between her own spiritual integrity and maintaining her loyalty to her family. Such decisions are rarely made lightly and can cause profound inner conflict that might manifest as anger or resentment, particularly if Kellie felt she had been manipulated or pressured into playing a role in the ministry that she no longer believed in. There is also the question of how Kellie's feelings toward her father may have evolved over time. Family relationships are dynamic, and it is possible that the tension between Kellie and Kenneth developed gradually, rather than as the result of a single event. In many families, conflict arises incrementally, building up over years or even decades as small grievances and disagreements accumulate. In Kellie's case, the ongoing public controversies surrounding her father's ministry may have added fuel to an already simmering tension. Every scandal or criticism directed at Kenneth Copeland's ministry could have increased Kellie's frustration, especially if she felt those controversies were justified or represented a growing disillusionment with her father's message. Public criticism of the prosperity gospel in particular has grown significantly in recent years as more people question the ethical and theological foundations of this movement. The prosperity gospel's emphasis on material wealth and success as a sign of divine favor has always been controversial, but in the modern era, it faces increased scrutiny from both religious and secular observers. The idea that faith in God will lead to financial prosperity is at odds with the teachings of many other Christian traditions, which emphasize humility, service, and sacrifice over personal wealth. Kellie, having grown up immersed in her father's teachings, may have begun to see the disconnect between the prosperity gospel and the core principles of Christianity. This realization could have been a catalyst for her growing sense of dissatisfaction and anger toward her father. It's also important to consider the social and political dimensions of the Copeland family's public role. Kenneth Copeland has not only been a religious figure, but also an influential political voice, particularly within conservative Christian circles in the United States. His ministry has been closely aligned with certain political figures and ideologies, which may have further alienated Kellie if she began to disagree with the direction her father was taking, both theologically and politically. Many evangelical leaders, including Kenneth Copeland, have been vocal supporters of conservative politics, and this alignment between religion and politics has been a source of tension within the broader Christian community. If Kellie disagreed with her father's political positions, or felt that his ministry was being used to promote a political agenda, this could have contributed to the erosion of their relationship. The intersection of religion and politics is often a divisive topic, and for families like the Copelands, where both faith and politics play such a prominent role, the personal impact can be profound. The alignment of Kenneth Copeland's ministry with certain political ideologies might have created additional pressure for Kellie to either publicly support her father or distance herself from his views. If she chose the latter, this decision would have carried significant consequences, not only in terms of her relationship with her father, but also within the broader religious and political communities that look to Kenneth Copeland for guidance. The weight of such decisions can be overwhelming, especially for someone who grew up in an environment where loyalty to family and faith was expected to be absolute. Kellie's potential disillusionment with the political affiliations of her father's ministry could also tie into broader societal shifts within the evangelical community. Over the past decade, there has been a growing divide within American Christianity, with younger generations of Christians increasingly rejecting the political and theological positions of their elders. This generational shift is particularly pronounced among evangelical Christians, where many younger believers are moving away from the prosperity gospel and the conservative political positions that have long been associated with it. Kellie, as a member of a younger generation, may have found herself at odds with her father's message, not only because of theological differences, but also because of this broader generational shift within Christianity. This generational divide is not unique to the Copeland family, but it may have been exacerbated by the public nature of their ministry and the significant political influence wielded by Kenneth Copeland. The prosperity gospel, with its focus on individual wealth and success, can often feel out of touch with the concerns of younger Christians, many of whom are more focused on issues like social justice, environmental stewardship, and community service. For someone like Kellie, who grew up in a ministry that promoted the idea of personal prosperity as a sign of divine favor, the disillusionment may have come as she began to see the ways in which this message was at odds with her own evolving understanding of Christian values. In addition to the ideological and theological factors contributing to the rumored rift between Kellie and her father, there is also the question of how Kenneth Copeland's personal behavior may have influenced their relationship. While much of the public's focus is on his ministry and its teachings, the private behavior of religious leaders can often have a profound impact on their family relationships. If Kenneth Copeland's personal conduct was inconsistent with the values he preached, this could have created a sense of hypocrisy that Kellie found difficult to reconcile. Religious leaders are often held to high moral standards, and when their behavior falls short of those standards, it can lead to deep feelings of betrayal, particularly among family members who have invested their lives in the ministry. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, could you leave your comments below and tell us, do you believe Kellie Copeland Swisher's claims about her father? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.